In today's session, we're going to be looking at TLS and specifically how does a SASE platform handle a TLS connection, right? So SASE is Secure Access Service Edge. It's a term coined by Gartner, and there's a number of vendors out there that provide SASE solutions, including Zscaler, Netscope, Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, Cloudflare, and the list continues, right? Um, so the main, if without kind of going too much detail into the SASE, I do actually have a separate video that dives deep into exactly what SASE is really allowing us to do traffic monitoring, policy management, policy enforcement, and things like that. So, there are a number of benefits of having a traffic go through a SASE model. So let's first of all take a little bit of a step back from SASE and just look at a TLS connection in general, right? So in order for a TLS connection to happen, there has to be a certificate on the client side. Right, so we have a certificate here. And as part of the certificate, there is a public key. Okay, and this is important here, right? So the client uses that certificate to set up an encrypted TLS encrypted connection. And it does that by using the certificate that confirms the identity of the web server and uses the public key to encrypt that traffic. Now, if we were to insert the SASE into the middle, the TLS protocol, the TLS framework, is going to think there's a man in the middle attack, right? Someone deliberately, maliciously trying to break that connection, spoof it, monitor it. So there's, the TLS protocol itself is quite strict in that respect. Okay, so in order for us to actually kind of fix that problem, we have to do a couple of things, or the SASE platform does a couple of things, right? So the first of all is the SASE platform is going to do one kind of like not so much a trick, but kind of like an interesting perspective here. The SASE platform is going to do basically what is called a TLS intercept, right? It's going to intercept that TLS traffic. But before it can do that, we're going to have to move away and kind of like do something different regarding to certificates here. Now, the certificate on the web server, along with the public key, this bit over here, that does not change here. That is still going to be, we have no control over the web server, the final destination. So basically what's going to happen here is in this instance, we're actually going to install, or the SASE platform installs, something called a client certificate. And what this client certificate is, let's put that certificate in there. And the SASE platform can push that client certificate in a number of different ways through an agent install. It can be installed manually, but there are number of different options, right? And this certificate is actually a trusted root certificate, right? And it's issued by our SASE provider here, right? And it's important because that is what allows the SASE platform to intercept that traffic and decrypt it, right? Because the client is then essentially using the public key that is on that certificate, to which the SASE platform has the corresponding private key that it can actually decrypt the traffic. Okay, so the client sends the traffic to the SASE platform. Okay, so that's that first TLS. And then what actually happens is when that SASE platform intercepts that traffic, is actually on the back end is creating a secure connection with the actual web server. So there is two TLS connections. So the difference here is, so this is the first TLS connection and this is the second TLS connection. The difference here is on this side, on the client side that we have, okay? On the client side, the secure connection, the TLS connection, is actually used, it is built using the client certificate. And on the other side, on the number two side of the things, on the right-hand side, that secure connection is being built using the web server's certificate, right? So two different purposes here, right? And that is how it's able to actually do that. So if I look at the traffic, if I'm going to flow the traffic here, right? So let's just take an example of a traffic here. So we have so the client generates that piece of message here. It encrypts it using the public key of the SASE issued root certificate. it sends that over to the SASE platform. The SASE platform then decrypts that traffic, and then what it does, it inspects it, right? So there's a number of inspections that happens, policy management, whatever. Then what it does, it re-encrypts that traffic using now the public key of the web server, and it then sends it to the web server. The web server is able to decrypt the traffic using its corresponding private key here. So really what we're doing here is we're basically encrypting, decrypting, encrypting, and decrypting again. And that's how the SASE model is able to insert itself in the middle, in effectively providing end-to-end communication. And the key element here is that the client is unaware of the interception taking place. Okay. Now, this entire model kind of breaks, not because if you remove the actual certificate on the actual web server, because that still has to happen, but in actual fact, if you remove the root certificate, okay, on the client side. And that is the magic ingredient here to make TLS work with a man in the middle kind of entity here, which is the SASE platform, in terms of the actual end-to-end connection here, right? That concludes today's module.